Alright. Well, hopefully. Okay. Okay. I was gonna do this on Twitch, but I figured it'd be more interesting to get ideas and other various stuff from doing it live here. So, makes certain things more funnier, or not funnier, but better. And there's one other one that I need to do. What would be the Joker logo in the Arkham series? Joker logo font Arkham. I guess it's just like a haha or a smile. Okay. So I'm working on right now, if you guys want to know. Sorry if it's a little bit laggy. I'm having issues with my art app because I think there's too many layers. But basically, I'm working on some elements of the side mission menu screen. So you guys will see more of this in the one of the upcoming videos on my gaming channel for the Arkham Origins side mission video, stuff like that. No. Hold on. So if you guys are curious, so you guys, and this is also another reason I'm doing this live, is maybe you guys can suggest ideas. You guys can actually give me some feedback on certain things if you guys have any ideas for stuff, and maybe I can even write them down for ideas for, you know, the side missions, how I would, because I'm also reworking how the side mission system is going to work in Arkham Origins, because the remake video, I kind of like hinted at like reworking of different aspects of gameplay. I wanted to kind of push that even further with certain systems being reworked, like the side mission system. So some elements are going to stay the same, especially when it comes to the map. I think the map could probably be expanded a little bit. I really kind of wish that we could expand it. I might think about, like, maybe we could actually work it or rework it. I don't know. Hey, Connor. Welcome in, man. I'm doing this live. I was thinking about doing it on Twitch, but I figured, you know what, to give people on YouTube, you know, more of a chance to actually join in on the conversation and actually, you guys feel like wanting to help out, it would be cool. And stuff. So, but yeah, this is, I'm gonna be working on the different the assets for the upcoming the video. I was gonna do this on Twitch, but I figured, you know what, it gives more leeway to do it on YouTube, so it gives you guys actually a voice to actually give me some feedback, some ideas of your own, and stuff like that. Because I do kind of want to rework some elements of Arkham Origins. But hopefully you're doing well, Connor. And also, let me know if the stream quality is good. I don't know if anybody's in the chat or anybody's really paying attention or watching. So, like, if there is issues with the stream, I'd rather be told about it now. So, please don't hesitate. If there is issues, I rather know. And also don't hesitate to suggest things, because this is like early stages. I'm still like writing the story of certain side missions or reworking the story of certain side missions. I'm also in general just reworking stuff. I don't know if my audio a little bit low. There it is. So hopefully you guys can hear me a little bit better now. I had it low because of my fan. But because I wanted to change aspects of the gameplay systems of Arkham Origins to some extent. And I wanted to borrow from some cut features of Batman Arkham Origins as well, or cut ideas that I figured could be interesting, that could actually be tweaked. Like Arkham Origins was supposed to have a bigger focus on the villains and other various stuff. So I wanted to kind of like rework those fundamental systems and kind of just tweak how everything works. Because so if people have ideas, if people have suggestions, I like to hear them. I don't mind getting feedback or ideas, because right now it's just in early stages. Sorry, I went out for a minute. What are you talking about? Because so I'm working on assets today, but today because, you know, in general, I was gonna do this on Twitch, but I figured I'd do it on YouTube instead. But what I'm working on right now is mainly just the menu screen for like side missions in general, blah blah blah. So what I'm basically, with my Arkham Origins remake video, what I did was said, okay, some elements of the systems would probably be tweaked and reworked while still having some familiarity to the concept of Origins. So stuff like the fundamental systems that we know of in Origins would still be there, but how I picture certain things being tweaked or reworked, yeah, this is like my this will be in the video itself, but I'm kind of tweaking it. But I wanted to kind of give an idea of like, okay, if that's the case, let's give people an idea of like how would these things be reworked? How would I do that? Because when you look at Arkham Origins and you look at the menus, the most wanted is really the side missions that like would be labeled, like they're all junked together, and stuff like that. And I wanted to basically rework some elements of the side mission system to kind of have it to where it, like Arkham Origins is basically the origin of Batman. And how Batman works is he's very much a filer. He's very much kind of like, who are the ones that don't need, like, they're kind of just standard, they're not much of a threat, and who are the ones that are pretty much very dangerous that need to be dealt with immediately, and this or that. And what I thought of was like reworking the side mission system to kind of have that familiar element of what we saw in Origins, but kind of tweak it. Because I wanted to also add things that were going to be big concepts that were a part of Origins that were actually pretty cool. So what I wanted to do is like tweak the fundamental parts of the system. So for starters, let me kind of like divide this a little bit. There would be the splintering of like certain key things that are a big part of Origins. I wanted to also tweak aspects of Origins on certain things, but basically you'd have the core for what's it called? So unsolved murders or like mystery crimes. You have your HR stuff or AR stuff, and then you'd have a fourth one, and that would be tied to the factions. Because originally in Arkham Origins, they said that they wanted to have the villains have a better focus, but they also wanted to do something more when it came to the idea of like the way Arkham Origins was going to be when it came to the factions and stuff. Because like when you look at Origins, they said there was an original plan that they had where you had, because of the way they had Origins was you had the bad cops, like you had that idea. You had the Joker's men. You had Black Mask's guys. You had Bane's guys. But they said that they wanted there was also supposed to be this transition of like the old crime of Gotham, kind of like because that's what Roman was kind of a part of, even though he's kind of like 50-50. And it's basically like a faction system of like when it comes to their crimes and stuff like that, and kind of giving that, especially because of the Penguin, and you had all that stuff. So what I thought of is having a faction system of like the different factions of Gotham. You have the Joker faction, you have the Blackgate prisoner faction, because you have the escapes, you have the corrupt cops and just the cop faction. You have the Falcone family. Yes, they are going to be a part of this. I don't know if was Falcone arrested by the time of Arkham Origins? Falcone arrested in Arkham Origins. While Carmine Falcone does not appear in Arkham Origins, his son Alberto is arrested during the game the event of the gang war between Falcone crime family. Yeah, okay. So basically, I wanted to have the Falcone crime family be brung into this because there is a gang war between him and the Penguin. So I wanted to have like a factions system of like when it comes to the crimes, where you have these different factions of people that you have to deal with as a separate part of the overall crimes system. So you have your core bits of crime, like the core things that make up certain bits, and then you have the other stuff, which would be the Penguin, you have like the different motherfucker. I forgot I did that. Damn it. Okay, so up layer. I always hate when I do that because I forget that I have the thing. Yeah, so let me get rid of the guns real quick. Hold on. Let me get rid of these. So you have like the old crime and someone, like you have the gang wars. It's basically kind of like, that's pretty cool so far. Yeah, it's basically splintering up based on the core concept of the game, the factions, where it does give you an idea of like, okay, the different factions of Gotham that are going to war at the moment, and basically saying, oh, for fuck's sakes, hold on. Where basically it gives a piece of the idea of what they were doing in Origins, but done differently, where it basically is saying, okay, here are all the factions, and you have them all kind of lined up. You have Black Mask's faction, you have the Penguin's faction, you have the Falcone, Joker, Blackgate prisoners, and the corrupt cops. I guess Bane would be considered a faction. I don't know what he would have as a symbol. I don't know his symbol in Arkham. Bane insignia Arkham. I guess Bane's insignia in Arkham would probably be yeah, it would be that. So you would have the Bane guys as well you had to deal with, but that their faction would switch up after the story, and that would lead into a brand new side mission later on, which would deal in the most wanted category. Of the Bane guys. So you have like these core factions that are kind of split. I'm not going to consider Anarchy's people a faction, because so how many villains are in the game anyways? Well, there's the ones that we already have. Like, those are not going anywhere, in general. Also, I need to rework how this looks. So, I don't know. Maybe... Damn it. There would be new ones as well. But I wanted to rework how the side mission system works. I wanted to borrow aspects of what they originally planned for Arkham Origins, like borrow concepts that didn't make it in, or rework them to make them work a little bit better. Because, like, the online mode was based in the idea of, like, factions going to war and stuff like that. And I thought, okay, why not keep within that confine and basically, keep that style of stuff in the game, but do it a bit differently to make it work. The biggest problem that I felt like Arkham Origins had is that some elements of things just were introduced to not really be anything with it. So I thought, okay, reworking all of that, you could basically say, you basically have it to where they work a lot better. So the idea, or at least the core idea I had, is reworking the side mission system with that in mind. So you have the factions system, which basically kind of gives you more than gives you more to work with, because it also sets up a lot of future things when it comes to Arkham and stuff like that. So you have all of that, but I'm sure he already left again, so I don't know why I'm repeating myself. Yeah. Shit. Fudge. No. Shoot. Oh, crap. I'm trying to think. The core idea that I wanted to do is, like, I wanted to change the side missions, in general and how they function in Arkham Origins, because I felt like the original way it was done was basically just like everything is most wanted, everything, and some of the most wanted missions just kind of like, why are these even considered a threat when you have assassin, like some of them are the assassins, so I can understand why they work, but the Riddler is one of those ones where it's kind of like, I don't really see him as like a major threat. Why is he kind of even here? While Anarchy is kind of a threat, I feel like his side mission kind of just feels like something that would be considered busy work. So why not, I thought, why not separating the structure of the side missions and how they work in comparison? So that's why I had it to where the Penguin is a faction, so it's like that kind of ties into Barbara's bit where you have to, like, you know, stuff like that, but it also expands on it, where it's like shutting the Penguin down completely, and you also have like the Riddler and his stuff, and then you have Anarchy and his stuff. I figured this way it kind of gives us more to work with in how it is split, where the side missions themselves I felt like they always were, like the Arkham Origins ones, as good as they were in concept, they lacked a certain punch. So I figured something that could give the Arkham Origins side missions a little bit more oomph is just kind of reworking how they work. So you have it's basically taking an Arkham Knight-esque approach, where in Arkham Knight you had the ones that tied into like the overall faction of the militia, which some of those are separate all on their own, which that they should have just been united into one side mission, but that's a small nitpick. I basically wanted to do something like that, which is something I felt like Arkham Origins should have done. And basically split them up. So you have the faction side of it that is like its own thing for like collectibles, busy work in the open world, and then you have some that tie into like side missions that are like just small scale stuff. So like they're basically being split into like actual side missions that you have to do for the open world, or the ones that are basically kind of in a different league to things. So the faction ones kind of feel that, like, the faction side of it is basically saying, okay, why not, you know, have it to where it basically is kind of like, because you already have, like, the premise of Arkham Origins was basically, you know, Black Mask puts out this bounty. He, you know, supposedly is like, you know, some like old-timey gangster and stuff like that, but it's actually the Joker. But like, it's basically Long Halloween, but done differently in some aspects. And I thought, okay, that's brilliant. Why not work within that to make that work, so to speak? Basically say, okay, if that is the case, we're basically going to I'm trying to think of a symbol that could, like, encapsulate half of the, like, the hold on. Okay, let's say one piece of it is the skull. Now, I'm trying to think of, like, what could work. I got an idea. Why not half is this, and then I go over, hold on, let me drag this up here, and basically it'd be split, because it's like one half is the badge that we know and love of the police station. Well, the other half would be these, what's called, the Black Gate symbol. Where it's basically faction stuff. So the overall idea of, like, the reworking of side missions is basically, okay, the standard side missions, like the stuff you would see in Arkham City. So, like, the ones that do also tie in the open world, but you also had, like, side objectives that go into that, would be the ones that are right here. Hold on. Right here. So, like, anything that it would... And that would actually be, like, a really, like... It would start to... It would kind of be, like... You can actually just scroll through, and it's, like... Here. It's like... There'd be, like, around 9 or 10. Probably even... Maybe... Let's say 13. Just to be nice. 13. Just scrolling through. Because there also would be separate little side missions... that are actually pretty big side missions that are kind of similar to, like, the mission you get to retrieve Frieza's stuff, or the find Nora, stuff like that. there would be also missions like that, which is something I felt like Arkham Origins did not have. So it does kind of separate the main little side missions of having, instead of having just the busy work of like everything is just to do in the open world, there is a bit of like actual side missions that connect to certain things. I won't say what every bit of those side missions are, but you would basically go to those right here. So these damn it. Arkham, hold on. The Arkham Bat insignia. There you go. Fudge. Fudge! So it basically is me saying, it's basically me splitting up how these side missions would work into like the categories of like the ones that tie into the open world and the faction based ones are like pretty much like the standard ones. Like those are the ones that you would say, like you have like, let's say the Anarchy, the Enigma, the Penguin, but also you have other ones like a Catwoman introductory side mission that introduces her character. You have a couple other ones, maybe one that ties into Harvey Bullock and Killer Croc, expands on his character a little bit, giving us some more stuff with that, and all that. And then you have the most wanted side missions, which are a completely separate tab, borrowing heavy influence from the Season of Infamy, but on a massive scale. So the ones, some of the missions like the assassin-based ones, like Shiva, like Mad Hatter, like Deadshot, those would be here. Like those would be here. Because obviously you don't encounter Deadshot through the main story. But these would be a separate tab because I figured like it would make sense. It never made sense to me why the like really big threats are wrapped into like standard shit. So I wanted to borrow a little bit from Arkham Knight and how it worked when coming up with ideas here. So, you know, you have each of those tabs and also you have over here your collectible stuff, or like what you can consider collectibles. So you have your Riddler stuff. There'd be less of these, so you can already tell these are coming back. But there would be less of them. So to explain without spoiling, I wanted to kind of like just, you know, explain my concept for that side mission, and basically go in there and basically say, okay, how am I going to get this to work? The concept that I had, and this is just me spitballing here, was that the core concept of the side mission would remain the same. What I had, because what is there is not bad. The radio towers aspect of it, the idea of having the stupid data packs, that's fine. The issue that I think a lot of people have is that the Enigma side mission feels like busy work, mainly because you're copying a lot of what Arkham City already did. The data handlers just do not work. The only aspect of the mission that feels new is just the addition of the radio towers, but even then, it's lesser versions of what we had to deal with in Arkham City with the puzzle rooms and stuff like that. And I thought to myself, well, if they're pretty much a lesser version of that anyways, why not pretty much turn them into that as a way of like saying, okay, you know, basically what the concept that I had is that the Riddler, just like in the base game, would take over the radio towers. But there would be a twist to this. There would be a reason why he's targeting them. It isn't just because he's trying to shut down your Batwing to stop you from going anywhere and blah, blah, blah. It never made sense to me why he would know that. So what I thought of was that there is a double reason for why he's going after them. It happened to be lucky that he also is simultaneously shutting down your Batwing. I thought because the radio towers and radio signals in general extract so much data and airwaves from different things and blah, 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 and there's so many of them around Gotham, so there'd be so many, he basically would be abstracting a lot of data and stuff. Basically, there's a lot of miscellaneous data, there's a lot of whatever, and the whole point of the side mission is that he's getting blackmail stuff. And what I thought of, instead of, he basically would be rigging these towers, instead of just like changing the signal and you having to do that, there also has to be a mini point to where it's funneling that data into somewhere and also bouncing that over through the different little smaller relays to bounce back to his central location. So what I thought of is that there would be servers, like mini servers. There would be one in each of the radio towers, and you would have to destroy them. But in destroying them, you also you have to, like, you first decrypt them and then you destroy them. So it basically would act as the maps from Batman Arkham Asylum, and also it acts as the data handlers. So you basically lose those, like the data handlers are gone. You would basically get a portion of the data, and the other halves of it are put in these little data packs just to separate things that aren't too controversial, that don't need to go back to the main server. So there would be so it basically is get rid of the mini server that's having the data from the radio towers being put into it, and also wiring back to the what's it called? And basically the mini data packs, there would only be certain amounts of them around the surrounding area. So basically it simplifies the structure of the side mission, where the overall concept is basically the same but done differently and made a little bit more streamlined to make sense. So it keeps some aspects of what Riddler was trying to do, but we also could rework his goals to make that work. So that's another thing that I thought would be cool. And the other thing that I guess I thought of, which would be pretty cool, give me just a second. So basically, there is a lot of like changes and reworks that I want to do to the side missions, and stuff like that. But I might work on this little thing a little bit more off stream because I'm kind of just rambling a little bit. I need to work on the icons for other collectibles and stuff, so I will probably try to stream again a little bit, maybe tomorrow. I don't really know. I kind of been really busy lately, and I do not want to, do too much. So, till then, peace out. Bye-bye.